Hey everybody, thanks for coming by. On this project, we're going to be doing a Hawaiian print keychain. It was actually inspired by a shower curtain that I saw on Pinterest. We're going to start with an acrylic blank. I have based it with spray paint. I spray painted it white with flat white, and then I just used an acrylic paint and I used my airbrush and I spray painted it this blue. So for the first layer, we're going to be putting some glitter down. You can use whatever glue you've got that you enjoy. I'm using the Crystal Lac glitter glue. And just put a thin layer on. I use my finger for everything. I find it gives me the best coat. All right, once you're happy with the glue, add a liberal layer of glitter. This glitter is from Glitter Babes & Co. And I just used my finger to kind of mash it into the glue. I haven't yet discovered my perfect technique for this yet, but I'll let you know when I do. And once you've cleaned up the glitter, and if you're anything like me, there was glitter absolutely everywhere, I'm just going to clean up the edges a little bit. Try to make sure there's no overhang, try to flatten everything I can. After about an hour, I did put a piece of parchment over top of it and kind of rub all the glitter as flat as it can go. It just helps later on. And we're just going to add a layer of the E6000. It just helps the glitter from moving. And then I'm just going to let that dry. Once it's all dry, I'm just going to start adding a layer of bright tone. I added, I think, 3 layers to get it smooth after the glitter. There might have been a 4th one. I add a layer, I wait a few hours, and as I'm walking past it again, I add another layer. These are a little bit easier than the tumblers because you don't have to remember to turn the tumbler off, so I just, every time I passed it, every couple of hours, I put a layer on it until it was nice and smooth. All right, so I'm going to just pop into Cricut Design Space here, and because I'm going for this Hawaiian print kind of look, what I did was I took the circle. My actual acrylic is 3 inches, and I've made the circle 2.9 inches, and the elements that I want on it, I'm just duplicating them a couple of times, and then kind of moving them around the circle until I'm happy with their placement. I'm not sure if there's a better way to do this. I kind of played around with it. I did the keychain, and there's a cup coming. I also did a tumbler in the same pattern. I learned a little bit on the keychain for when I did the tumbler. But just move them around, turn them around, make sure you're happy with all of your elements. It's a good way to do it. I just moved the flower. The flower is the last thing that I painted, and I want it right on top so it's easy for me to spot later on. I'm just going to hide the contours in the flower just because I wanted to cut the outside. I want the contours to cut in a holographic vinyl later on. But for the actual painting, I just need the basic inside. Delete all the extras, and I'm going to put that in a different color, so I cut that separately. And then highlight everything, and I'm going to attach it, and it's all going to be one cut in one color. And I'm going to cut it all with a stencil vinyl and the flower in the holographic vinyl. Now I've cut it out in my stencil vinyl. You can see that my keychain, it's flat, so it's good for me to attach the stencil vinyl. And I'm not going to weed anything. I'm going to attach it all together. I'm going to individually weed out the colors as I use them. So one big piece. And I want it all to come up together, so give it a good rub. It actually came off better than I thought it would, to be honest. I thought I was going to struggle a bit more. All right, we're going to put that onto our blank. The lights above me can also, they can be, they made it a little bit more difficult. You can see me struggle a little bit doing this. I sometimes had to do a couple things off camera because the lights were so bright I couldn't see where my cuts were. Especially because I used blue transfer paper on a blue keychain. That was not my most, or sorry, blue stencil vinyl on a blue keychain. It made it a little extra difficult. But I do like the stencil vinyl, and it's not quite as tacky. I guess I should try the 631 vinyl. Maybe that would have been better in a different color. I'm just trimming up around the outside just to make it easier later with an X-Acto knife. I could have done this in Design Space. Honestly, I was just too lazy because you can only slice 2 things at a time, so I just wasn't really bothered, to be honest. Getting this started was a little bit difficult with some of the patterns, but I think it was worth it in the end. It actually came out really, really awesome. So be patient. You can see me taking it off camera. You can't really see it on camera, but it is all on there together. And I'm going to start with the white, so I'm just going to go and pick the fern-looking patterns off. This is where it was really difficult to see on camera, under the lights, sorry. I start tilting it in strange directions. So I've done it this way because I've chosen to airbrush on the alcohol inks. You know, I've had an airbrush since I was a teenager. I rarely used it. I had some problems. I tried to buy this cheap compressor, just a little one, because I don't really have a lot of space where I work. And it was really a huge mistake. It cost me $100. It came with a little airbrush. The airbrush works fine, to be honest, for what I do. But the compressor, oh, you can see in a few videos I'm airbrushing and airbrushing and airbrushing and airbrushing and nothing ever, it just seems to take forever. I can tell you for the extra $50, buy a bigger compressor, save yourself time in the long run. My new compressor came in and it's just like night and day. The other one, I mean, I think it's good for maybe airbrushing water, but not much other than that. So this is just the cheap little airbrush that came with it. I have a good one. It was somewhere on the table getting cleaned. And this is just the white mixative and a white pearl. I just wanted it to be a little bit see-through so the glitter came through a little bit, but I knew that the pearl itself would be too translucent for the final look that I wanted. You could try this using one of the felt pads that comes with the alcohol inks. I mean, it's your keychain. Give it a shot if you don't have an airbrush and you're not interested in one. See how it goes. I mean, it's art. It's supposed to be fun, and use what you have on hand. And I like the final look of the airbrush. It's a kind of a handy thing to have around. And don't be afraid of airbrushing. There's some really great videos. I learned how to airbrush in my early 20s, back when I was in art school. I think the airbrush itself sat in my drawer for the last decade or so. I haven't used it. I haven't had a compressor for it. So it's kind of fun to get it out and to use it again. I've got an old Iwata that cost me the earth back in the day. But now, with Amazon, it's so easy to get stuff. And it's so easy to learn with things on YouTube. It's so much different. So as I'm done with the white and I'm going to move on to the next color, I sped it up a little bit. So you just have to kind of look around and see where your patterns are. As best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. When I did the tumbler that's coming up, there was quite a few areas that I didn't get quite perfect, and you can't tell, and it looks really, really great. So it's kind of a fun, different technique to try. I really love the alcohol ink, so I'm just using just a spare piece of paper from the garbage, just to block off so it doesn't hit where the white is too much. It's the only downside to airbrushing is there can be quite a bit of overspray. It's just a little bit of alcohol just to clean out my airbrush a little bit. Get some of the white out. But the alcohol inks, they airbrush so beautifully. I wished I had known about them when I was younger. Back when I first got my airbrush. And you can see me add, I just add a couple of drops, then I use it, and then I add a couple more drops. You don't want to put too much in there. So I'm just using the piece of paper just to block over the white, and I'm just going to give it a quick spray with the airbrush. You can go as much or as little as you want. You can keep going, you can let it dry, you can go back to it. Just keep building until you can get it the color that you want it. So I've done my 3 colors, and I'm just putting on my hologram before I do the rose, and I'm just going to use the outside of the hologram as a barrier so that it doesn't get covered in pink. The reality is this didn't really work. I should have waited and put the outside of the hologram on. Sorry, let's try that again. My daughter was just in here. She fell. I should have waited to put the exterior of the hologram, the part that I was going to keep on of the holographic vinyl on until after I had sprayed it. I did it a little bit different when I did the cup because I learned when I did this, the alcohol ink really stuck to the holographic vinyl. So I ended up just taking it off and when I was done painting it and putting a new holographic vinyl on after the fact. But, you know, you just try things and you see how they work, and some things work out perfectly and some things you adjust as you go along. I don't know why I didn't pull this out before I put it down. Momentary lapse of who knows. I think I had a different plan in my head. All right, we almost got it. And I'm just using the vinyl so that the pink doesn't get on anywhere where the green is. I want the flower to be on top and look very clean. So I'm just using a little bit of alcohol to kind of clean up where I oversprayed a bit of the green. And the flamingo pink. Almost done. Just keep building the color until it's the depth that you want. That's the nice thing about the airbrush is you can just slowly build and build it and build that color until you're really happy with it. I'm just going to remove the stencil here. So what I ended up doing was peeling off the original holographic vinyl that I had around because it was too pink, and I just put a new one on. It, made just a little bit of extra effort cutting a new one out. You can see how it turned out. It was beautiful. I'm just going to put a coat of the Extreme Protection polyurethane. I'm using this because alcohol ink is not UV stable. It can fade over time. So I just wanted to give it a little bit of extra protection before I put the bright tone on. I did, I think, 2 layers of this. Yeah, 2 layers of this, and then another couple of layers of bright tone. I haven't yet decided if I'm fully sold on bright tone on my keychains. It is so much faster to just use epoxy. Sorry, not epoxy, but UV resin. I do use UV resin, and it is so fast. It does cost quite a bit more though, but it's, I can finish a project much quicker. So here you go. I've done 2 layers of Extreme Protection, 3 layers of bright tone, and now I'm going to work on the back. So on the back, it's just from the spray paint that I used. Transfer tape is not my friend. I don't know why I can never get it up. And this is just a little, I don't know, I found this saying online, and it wasn't even a font that I found. I found this little quote online, and I loved the way it was written, and I just decided that I wanted to use it. So I just imported it as a picture and cut it out of the holographic vinyl. And we're just going to add that to the back. So about this point, I decided that it needed a little bit more bling. So I added a bit of glue. I think I used Tack It, and just let it dry. And I'm just going to add a couple of very well placed glitter bits. I ended up adding a little bit. This glitter had some really beautiful translucent pastel colors. I'm not sure how well they'll come through on camera. So I sprinkled just a few pieces of glitter down, and then I'm going to use my my weeding tools, and I'm just going to separate them and place them exactly where I want them to be. I wanted it to be very just a little bit of bling, not too much like the front. The front, it has that Hawaiian print look to it. I actually found that on Pinterest. No, it was on Facebook Marketplace. I saw a shower curtain with this flamingo and this amazing print around it, and I just fell in love with it. And I thought, I'm going to make that into something, and to see if I could pull it off. So, the one side has so much going on. I decided that I really just wanted, just a little bit of bling on the back, and these little tiny, almost translucent color. They actually come out so pretty in the end. So be patient, make sure it's perfect. I didn't even seal this side. I ended up just going right in because there's no loose glitter. It's, I'm just adding so few pieces. So when you're all good and happy with your placement, go ahead and add 2 or 3 layers of your bright tone or your UV resin, whichever one you're using in this case. I don't think I actually got video of myself finishing this one off, but make sure, you just keep adding a couple layers until it's nice and smooth and that you're really, really happy with it. So this actually turned out really beautiful in the end. Here you go. And add your hardware, and there's the other side. It's super shiny. The glitter comes right through the alcohol inks. I can never remember what they're called. I don't know why. You can see how super cute that turned out. You can see the little translucent glitters there. They come out once you put the sealer on the top. And there's the cup. The cup video I just have to edit, and then I'm going to get that up as well, and you can watch how that turned out. I'm super happy with them both. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please send me a note down below and let me know what you think. Let me know what I can do better. I am working on my camera angles. I have set up a new system, so that should be better going forward. Please like and subscribe, and have a great night. Thank you so much for watching.